I would like to say, just for the record, what he meant in a personal way to my generation, who 50 years ago, just this week, heard President Kennedy tell us that we should ask what we could do for our country at a time which turned out to be pretty tough and cynical. We were mired in a war many opposed. We lost the president. We lost Senator Kennedy. We lost Martin Luther King. Who the heck knew what all that meant? It was a nice little phrase. Sargent Shriver was what it meant. And for those of you who are my age, who were ever involved in seeing how the Peace Corps started, or seeing how the war on poverty started, or watching the rise of legal services, here was a man at the core of a family that had suffered more, borne more, lost more, who showed up every day and found joy in life. So for those of you who are younger, you need to know, as Bobby so eloquently put it, the 60s and early 70s were no bed of roses, particularly for this family, but also for those who supported them and who were often poor or just meager middle class and a long way away, and nobody knew who we were, but it was tough to be young and idealistic. How did we know how it was supposed to be? Sargent Shriver. I had the opportunity to observe him in two settings which answered a question that even in the most hopeful times was hard to answer with a straight face. Could anybody really be as good as he seemed to be? I mean, come on now. I mean, this is like, come on. Every other man in this church feels about 2 inches tall right now. Because he knew that what matters is the moment and eternity. And most of us waste countless hours trying to rewrite the past or elevate our position in the future in a way that doesn't amount to a hill of beans and keeps us from making the most of the moment. I have never met a man in my life who was happier in the moment than Sargent Shriver was, and who made more of it, and who thought less about how he could rewrite the past or rejigger the future to inflate himself above others. So I tell you, from the cynical, tough times of the late 60s and early 70s to this amazing moment, he really was as good as his family just told you, and maybe even a little better.